So all the future journalists out there, you've heard it here. Nayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So everything changed for you in 2005.
They killed my dad 20 years ago.
But that's so much tragedy, Nayla, that you've had in your family.
I was just, waiting when the car will explode. It was a nightmare.
Will the constitution ever change to allow Lebanon to move forward?
It's time for the Lebanese to be united for one thing, for Lebanon.
How does that feel, being a fourth generation journalist, so much in the public eye?
I want to continue the legacy of my father. No, I'm not so strict. I'm mistaken.
Choose one world leader, past or present, to come right now and fix Lebanon. Who are you going to choose?
In his book, he wrote that one day he will do Dubai, Beirut.
It's amazing.
So
I love that. I've got a
this is
thumbs
it,
up from
you
Nayla.
see?
I love it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Track with me, Luca Allam. On today's show, I'm joined by a bit of royalty, a bit of journalistic royalty.
Hello from Beirut. I'm Nayla Tueni, CEO of النهار Media Group. النهار اليوم صوت الكل، النهار صوت الناس من 1933 لليوم.
احنا صرنا بعالم fake news.
Being the daughter of Gebran and the granddaughter of Hassan Tueni, it's a lot of pressure. I cannot be Gebran, I cannot be Hassan, and I am Nayla. I am what I am who I am, and how I am. We did the campaign for the elections. We need to make a change. We need to be optimistic. We need to fight all the pessimism.
Nayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Luca.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Same for me.
Welcome to my house.
Thank you. Amazing.
Do you like Dubai? Do you like Jumeirah? Are you a fan?
Yes, I am fan of Dubai, of the UAE, of Jumeirah.
Amazing.
And even of your podcast.
Aha! Ahla wa sahla. You can come anytime. And I see you brought a fantastic mug here that says Virgo on it. What's going on here?
Yeah, this is my, I'm born on 31st of August.
You weren't sure. You were thinking about it. What
My horoscope.
I love it. I love it. What do they say about Virgos? They say something nice?
I think so. Yes, they are. They like perfection. They are accurate. They are calm.
Very nice.
And you, what's your horoscope?
I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. Scorpios have, by the way, we're born in the same year, 1982. Great year. Year of the dog, in case you don't know. But yeah, I'm a Scorpio, and they say not very nice things about Scorpios, but they're all not true. I promise you, we're great people. We're just misunderstood. Anyway, welcome to the show. Really happy to have you here. And there's a lot I want to talk to you about today. And if it's okay with you, we're going to cover quite a few things, right?
Let's start.
Yeah, we're going to cover a few things. Before I go any further, typically I always ask my guests if there's a question they don't feel super comfortable with, if they have a safe word. So have you managed to come up with a safe word?
Safe word. What will we use? Let's start and we'll see.
Okay, so okay.
And I will tell you this is the safe word.
But at some point you're going to have to say it because every guest comes up with a safe word, yeah?
Okay.
And by the way, I don't know if you can see over your shoulder, for those who are not, who are listening on audio, we've got a very nice customizable AI image of yourself and things that seem to be mattering to you. So do you like the picture?
Nice. Good job.
This is the wife again. The wife managed to, as usual, smash
she
it.
Seems, the wife.
I'm telling you, man, it's her show. I'm just here in front of a camera speaking, but she directs me. She pulls me in the right direction. So everything changed for you in 2005. Talk to me a little bit about how your world did change from what happened before your father was assassinated and then after.
I wanted to be a journalist, so this helped a little bit because I wanted to be a journalist. I studied in the Lebanese university as a journalism, and I was doing a training at An-Nahar. So I was into this world before the death of my dad. So this helped a lot. And I was with him all the time, looking what he's doing, accompanying him in events and conferences at the office, seeing how he is. And I'm not talking about my father because he's my father, but at the end, he's a person really charismatic. He is someone you get attached to. You look at him in a different way, how he even when he talks, how he attracts people, how he convinces people, how people, they like him, they love him. Even students, when they came from schools and universities to meet him, he was really different. And after even I discovered this after his death more than what I knew about him and how I was looking at him.
So you almost appreciated it more after he was gone.
Yes, especially that I was really surprised by a lot of stories. People come and tell me, he did this, he did that, he talked to us, he told us this and whatever. And he was a person very down to earth, very low, even if he is, not low profile, but he was a low profile at the same time. You don't feel that he is shy, but at the same time, he is shy. So he was really a special person. So being with him all this period of time, looking at him at work, not just as a father, helped a lot. And we had, the 2005, the whole year of assassination. Unfortunately, it started with the uncle of my dad, Marwan Ahmedi. They wanted to kill him in 2004 October, so it was the first one. Thanks God he didn't die. And from that moment, this whole year started with a lot of people who
it became a sort of a domino effect almost, right? Things kept seeming to be happening within that same period of time.
Yes,
but you were 22 when that happened.
Yeah, and I was seeing this. I'm telling you this story because it was a nightmare before the death of my dad. This was a nightmare. It was a year where all the time I was seeing it coming. So, when you have someone maybe sick by a cancer.
So you knew it was going to, knew it was coming.
And maybe someone is really sick and he's going to die. It was the same that they will kill him. And this year, it was for me awful.
And were you trying to warn him? You were telling him at the same time?
At the same time. I was with him in the car. I was just, waiting when the car will explode. We were in the office waiting till someone will shoot a gun or whatever. So it was really living in a...
You're in terror every day.
Yeah.
And the unknown, but it's going to happen at some point. How do you... you're saying like it's quite normal. That's not a normal thing.
No, it's not normal. But after 20 years, you work on yourself to say it as a story of life. Not in a normal way, because you adapt, you accept, you pass by a lot of steps and ups and downs till now, and stages and the ups and downs till now. No one can convince me that they can forget someone so close, or a relative, or someone they like or they love if he leaves us. So
in the day, he was a public figure, right? And everyone knew him, but he was your dad, right? At the same time. So you've got this double whammy of a leader as well as a father figure. And then you have to start running effectively the business with your grandfather from the age of 22. So
came that day, and for me, my wish was to die with him. So I was always looking to be with him in the car, be with him every time. So maybe I will die with him. And on that day, things happened differently. We were both in France with my grandfather. He was receiving from Dominique de Villepin, the Prime Minister. He was receiving not an award, Légion d'honneur. And we were all there. And I was supposed to come with him on Sunday. He told me, stay with your grandfather and come back on Tuesday. And I was trying to convince him not to go back to Lebanon, because I did it even in November, a month before, and he stayed in Paris. This time I couldn't convince him. He went back to Lebanon, and the next day in the morning at 9 a.m., this happened when he was going to work. So, when I woke up by phone messages and calls, and I said, I don't want to answer, because they'll announce that my dad passed away. And
it would have become more real, I'm guessing, as soon as you start answering these phone calls.
And I didn't want that anyone will just announce it to me, so I will always remember that this person announced it to me.
Yeah.
So the messages was bomb in Beirut. And I told the wife of my grandfather, I'm sure this is my father. She told me, no, why are you saying this? I told her, I'm sure. And when I knew which road it is, I was sure it's him. So we were just waiting. And I was just telling them, please just organize how we need to go back to Lebanon. And it was really a nightmare.
I bet you can remember it like it was yesterday.
I remember every second.
Every single detail, I'm guessing. And your life obviously changed dramatically after that. What were the biggest changes that you faced?
Everything, because when you're 22, you have a lot of dreams.
You're still a kid. I mean, 22, you're a kid.
So I did the first training at Le Figaro, and my plans was to go and continue to do more trainings in New York Times and others newspapers, and just to learn, to have a master degree, to continue life, and at the same time being a journalist and working at An-Nahar. But I wanted to have different experiences and to discover the world, to study more. So it was totally a reshuffle of life, and to face whatever all the fears, to face the problems of Lebanon, the political big challenge we had at that moment. And it was really tough. And being next to your grandfather was not something easy. When he's as a grandfather at home, he's a very
he's Jiddo.
Jiddo, they're really nice, and you know, he's more attached because he always say that I look like my grandmother who passed away at an early age. She was 48.
So you were his favorite, basically. You were his favorite.
Yes, and my name is Nayla because he lost also a daughter. She was 9 years old from a cancer. So we have the same name. So for him, you know, it's different. But at the same time, at work, he was a tough man, and is totally different, and you know, many generations, gap of generations. So this wasn't helping.
Talking about generations, I mean, you're the fourth generation, right? Your great grandfather started the business, I'm guessing. Is that correct? And then it's sort of handed down to your grandfather, and then obviously to your father. How does that feel, being a fourth generation journalist, so much in the public eye?
A huge responsibility, a huge challenge, but with a lot of passion. You have a lot to give, and the times changed. Maybe with the technology, we have a lot of facilities, but at the same time, it's challenging with the transformation of all the media and the newspaper and the digital era. Also, it's a big challenge, facing a lot of financial crisis on the media level. And plus, to add on the Lebanese crisis, which never stop, all
which
over.
we're going to get into the media, and we're going to get into the crisis.
So our time and even their time, they had Lebanese political issues and situation. But facing all those is not easy. And being a woman at a young age, facing, you know, those big names in the industry, and they looking at me that, this small girl, what is she doing? And she cannot, and she can, and she doesn't know, she knows. Even they were looking at my father like that. So imagine looking at me, how it will be.
Did you use work as a way in which it would help you overcome the grief, in a way where you would throw yourself into managing a big company, to spending more hours in the office than you would need to be, to try and distract you from maybe dealing with some of the realities at home?
No, it didn't distract me. It was an attachment because I was seeing my father everywhere. So the challenge was never give up because I want to continue the legacy of my father, and I love him so much. I'm attached to him so much. So whatever I do till now, maybe it's not good. And sometimes I just remind myself that you exist also, and what you're doing, it's also your success, not just his success or giving
you're
him
living
back,
for your own life as well as in memory.
So I always just try to help myself to remember, just you are here, you exist. But always for me till now, whatever I do it, and I say because he's with me and for him.
Your personality, did it change after he died?
I was 22. Anyway, with age, the personality changed. But it changed more because you look at things differently. So sometimes when you have people in front of you and they have, for them, a catastrophe or a big problem, and they come like panicking, we have a problem. And yes, what is the problem? And you see it very simple. It's because you look at things differently. The whole perception of life changed. When your father they killed your father in that so tough way, even, you know, he was into pieces. It's bad what I'm saying, but it's really dramatic. And after that, even they found the pieces after 6 months. We had to retake them to church and pray again a second time. And I was holding the box. I went and they gave me the box. So this is really tough. So whenever you have a small problem, you just look at things in a different way, and you try to say, no, everything has a solution. What's not so? You don't have a solution in front of death and in front of someone is really sick and you can't do anything.
Yeah, like it's incredibly traumatic. I couldn't even imagine what you went through. When you see, I mean, obviously topically right now, what's happening in Lebanon, do you see How do you feel about the situation in the sense of, you talked about explosions, you talked about bombs, you talked about people suffering. At the time of shooting, we're in the middle of it. We don't know how long this is going to continue for. What's your overriding feeling when you're seeing what's happening now in your own country?
It's really tough. Honestly, it's really tough. After 20 years of the loss of my dad, what's happening today, I cried one day because for me, what happened? They killed my dad 20 years ago. For what? Because he was defending his country, wanting a free Lebanon without any other stranger armies. And he wanted a freedom for the country. And at the same time, you look at 20 years, we paid the price of what? Of who? For what? For who? For which cause? And we as Lebanese paid a lot. We suffered a lot, and we struggled a lot. We tried every time to succeed, to do something. And after, in Arabic, we say, كلمة واحد يعلي راسه بوب. You cannot, because this is how the country is, and the whole country, how it is, unfortunately, with the religion, with the parties, with the leaders. It's a totally,
you've been advocating
for what?
Yeah,
For what?
you've been advocating for a long time for a free Lebanon, an independent Lebanon, where positions aren't dictated based on religion, but based on meritocracy. Do you think that will ever happen? Will the constitution ever change to allow Lebanon to move forward in
I'm not
anymore,
optimistic. I'm sad. It's really tough to see people dying again, and people without houses, without home, kids dying, being killed. I hate everything. I hate war. I hate bombs. I hate whatever. And when you see it, you see it's not normal. We are in 2024, in a totally different era where people has the right to live, to dream, where we have the right to have a peace, to live in peace, and to look forward to a better future, to technology, to culture, to health, to better days, and not to see the country totally destroyed, paying prices of what, I don't know. And a lot of people will criticize, a lot of people will insult me.
Why are they insulting you?
They will insult because, people, they don't want to be open-minded and listen that what I passed through, I suffered. I respect all the leaders, all the parties, all the politicians, the people maybe who love them and like them and follow them, but I'm not like that. I'm a person who wants a better Lebanon, a better future. We're attached to our country. We're giving our country in our way. We're serving our country in our way. We're dreaming of the country where we have tourism, where we have the people can live in a safe way. The best health sector, because we have it. We have the best doctors, we have the best teachers, we have the best cultural events we can have. We can have really the best. And you can see even the Lebanese succeeding everywhere in the world. So why not in our country? Why we always have to suffer? Why our kids should not sleep and they cannot go to school and they are afraid and they'll say we're dying today and we will die tomorrow.
But Nayla, sadly, this is not new. This has been going on in Lebanon. How many countless wars, whether they're foreign invasions or whether they're domestic, unfortunately, war in Lebanon has become commonplace. Every 10, 15 years, there seems to be a cycle.
This is why it should stop.
How do you break that cycle?
This is why it should stop.
But how do you break the cycle?
Time for the Lebanese to be united for one thing, for Lebanon. And time for them to really say, we don't want anyone anymore. We don't want to be blind. And we just want Lebanon and we want ourselves. Let us be selfish. Each one, if he wants to stay in the country or she wants to stay in the country, let the people be selfish and say, we want to live. We don't want anyone anymore to pay the agendas and the prices of anyone else. Why are we paying? My grandfather say, Des guerres pour les autres. He wrote a book that having the wars of others in our country. So why do we want to pay the agendas of other country in our small Lebanon?
What's the role of media when it comes to sharing some of these views? Not just obviously from your own side of things, but internally within Lebanon and also externally. How do you see the media's role in what's happening unfold in both in Gaza and obviously in Lebanon, and how the coverage is being shown to the audiences?
For me, media is a mission. And at the same time, you have to be objective and to cover the news as is and to give each news the importance that you should give. And whatever feelings you have, whatever parts or whatever opinion you have, you need to just think that you're not just talking about yourself, you're talking about you have a responsibility, the media you represent, and how you need to work on this media. Media has a big role. It can be a pressure on politicians, on leaders, on people, can be the voice of people, can help to change a lot. We can do a lot. It's like now, for example, when what's happening, we're working on stronger than war, and how negotiation can happen, how to try to find solutions, how before to learn from the history of Lebanon and other countries, how they reached to peace, how they reached to this ceasing fire, how to help people, how the feelings of people, the emotion of people, to salute each one who's trying to do a great, not mission and giving their life as doctors, as even the pilots now, the airlines, and we have a lot to cover on all levels, the political
how do you
and
rate
the
that
social.
coverage? Sorry to interrupt, but how do you rate that coverage inside Lebanon and outside? Like, what's your take? Because, I watch different news outlets. I'm obviously on social platforms. I see massively contrasting ways in which the media is being depicting the same incidents in the same country. So what's your take on that?
First, you have to fight the fake news. And we have a lot of fake news.
So how do you know what's fake? If you're an audience,
we have a team. There is a lady, she's leading the team. She works till she finds the source, and we write about it and how she found it and how she's sure that this is fake. And we trace everything. And we have this hub of fact checking, and the team work on each topic, even an image, a photo, a video, whatever. So they work on it. We say it's that it's fake news. We fact check, and this is the result. We have teams that they work on analysis, on deep analysis, on investigation, on research.
But that's your own company. There are a lot of media outlets out there who don't care so much about that. They want to get clickbait. They want to push a certain propaganda message, and all they care about is being able to attract audiences and to push a certain message down. And if you're an independent, if you're ignorant, if you don't have a lot of information, you're going to believe a lot of the things that you're seeing and you're hearing. And unfortunately, the role of media is so important, but it's not united. A little bit like Lebanon is not united. The media have never been united. The agendas behind the media channels are tremendously opposing. And I don't think that's gonna ever change. So based on that same merit, you're always going to have 2 or 3 different camps pushing different types of messages out there. And what's an audience supposed to believe anymore? That's the challenge. And then that's only going to keep a country divided.
This is the responsibility of the audience. You cannot change them. You need to just, to do awareness and to explain to them that they have to be careful. And I think it will come from schools even. You have countries that are starting at schools to give courses about fact checking and other things.
I'm smiling because we've got a game that we'll do a little bit later on, which we've actually got some articles for you. And you have to tell me if they're real or if it's fake news. Right? So that's why I'm smiling. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I've got something in this for you. Look, I think the situation.
You cannot change people if they want to read, if they are used to read websites.
But they also want to read what they want to read. If you firmly believe this, you don't want to look at anything else. You want to keep reading the same material, content that's going to reinforce your own ideology. That's not going to change. And you can't, again, changing people's opinions is tough to do. The role of media should be to report the truth.
Yes.
The role of media. The problem is if something is 99% accurate but 1% inaccurate, is it real or is it fake? In my opinion, it's not correct. It's fake. So if you can't report 100%, then you're going to be, how many news articles you read that 100% are 100% factually correct? You'll have 3 other sources countering, saying it's not. So again, it's really difficult. You've got a team, which is great, that does the fact checking, but there's going to be others out there who are going to be going out to disprove those facts that you're saying. So again, it leaves the audience not knowing. Look, I think we're in a very challenged time when it comes to media consumption and what to believe or not to believe. famously in the US, the elections are based on algorithms and manipulation of these algorithms and reach type of audiences. And I think some of the questions that I'll talk about later will cover that. But I wanted to get your take on how is the events in Gaza and in Lebanon being covered in Lebanon, and how do you see the media outlets covering the events in Gaza and in Lebanon outside? So what does that look like for you?
They are really covering well, and you have a lot of even people covering. Let's say you have a lot of photographers, individuals covering the news in a different way now, because we have the social media. So you
on
have
the ground.
On the ground, you have the media, and you have people on the ground. We cannot say influencers. They are journalists bloggers risking their lives, and they are covering it. It happened more in Gaza than Lebanon. You have many photographers, you have Plestia and a lot of others. They were covering the day by day on social media. In Lebanon, we don't have it a lot, but in Gaza we saw it a lot. It was
they were being targeted specifically.
Yes,
that's what it looked like.
But they are covering. You have the cameras all day long on. We have the latest news all day long, also on our websites, on everywhere, and covering what's happening as bombs, who is killed, who they killed, what will happen. Following the Israeli side also, because in Lebanon, what's happening now is that the Israeli is saying, for example, now we will attack this region.
Yeah. So you're getting your warnings.
We're getting our warnings, and we're also telling people just to be careful. So it's a
as a journalist, though, you have to remain agnostic. You have to remain factual. So you should also be sourcing your information from the other side, right? Do you ever look outside and look at what Israel's reporting and actually look to try and prove or disprove also that? Because when if they're saying something
it's
that's
not
accurate,
today, it's from before we have it.
You need to be fair. Again, you've got to remove somehow some of that emotional side out of the reporting. I know it's extremely difficult to, but the role of a journalist should be to report the truth.
Yeah, we report the truth. Yeah. We read the Israeli news, the websites, the analysis, and we report them. It's not today, it's from before.
Yeah.
This is how you are objective and try to go deep into the news, into the story, into what's happening, the analysis, what may happen, looking at the international media, what they are saying. It's a whole, it's not just about Lebanon, it's about the whole world and what's happening. It's a big change, I think, and we're going towards something totally seeing between US, Iran, between the Arab world, the GCC. It's a whole new composition. The US election, what will happen, also how they will influence what's happening in Lebanon and Gaza, and so it's a whole complex story and situation.
We've got here a bag of questions, and in the bag there's a question, and on each of those questions, please read it out. Let's have a conversation about it. Some will be fun, some will be a bit more thought-provoking. Let's see how we get on. You ready?
Ready.
Have you come up with a safe word or not yet? Nayla, you haven't got too long. Come on. Uh-huh.
Maybe I can answer all the whole question.
Yeah. If you don't pick your own, I'll come up with some.
You like
I like golf. I'm a golf player. Yeah. What do we have here? What does it say?
Speed of news or quality of news?
Okay.
Quality of news.
Is it more important to have speed of news or quality of news?
Quality of news. And I have this remark from people a lot. We received the push notification from another outlet before you. And I say yes, because we make sure that it's true before pushing the button.
Okay. So you're less interested in driving traffic than you are about reporting.
We try to be as fast as we can, but to have the quality and the right and the exact news.
So would you say that in the last 20 years or so, under your leadership, that you've delivered 100% track record of delivering accurate information?
We can have sometimes mistakes. No one can not have mistakes.
Percentage.
90%,
okay.
85%. And whenever we have a mistake, we say that this is a mistake.
Okay.
Even if people directly on social media, they start to attack, but we say it, that we had this mistake. It happened. Mistakes happen. Human beings, they do mistakes.
Yeah, of course.
Even technology, you can have a bug or mistakes. So now we launched our website. We wrote, it's a beta version because we'll have a lot of bugs. We try to be transparent and say what we have to say, to be loyal to our readers and followers and viewers. So
do you think, because obviously information is being passed very, very quickly with on the ground, those people, the journalists on the ground, the speed of information that gets circulated is exceptional now. I've never seen news being shared as quickly as is on the ground. What's the risk with sharing too quick?
Just not to have fake news.
But if you're seeing it, if someone is literally on the ground and showcasing, people, you mentioned about people getting warnings before they go to a certain area, they get told to leave. So if you don't listen to that news quickly, obviously you might be personally affected.
Yes, we know.
You know what I mean?
From which source we're having it.
Yeah,
we know that you have a spokesperson from Israel saying it, so it's not fake. So we take it from the spokesperson and we just put it directly. We don't take time. It's just on the second.
So you'd rather sacrifice a bit of volume, traffic, in order to deliver accurate news. I love that. It's great. I wish all outlets did that.
We try to be. Yeah. We work on being accurate, but of course we want traffic, we want readers, we want subscription, we want more people. It's a business at the end, and whenever now in this age is totally different because you're serving many audiences, and not just the Lebanese, the Arab audience, and with all the new project we're working on, it's really tough because many audiences. We did all the change what we're doing from a newspaper to a viewspaper, just to give the bridge between technology and tech and websites to paper, working on videos, working on social media, on all levels of social media. You have a lot of platforms, and you know that. WhatsApp, YouTube, Insta, Meta, Facebook, X, TikTok, Snap. So it's a tough job what we have. It's just being.
It's getting tougher because the people, the audience, the customers, effectively should be holding you more accountable in everything they report.
And working on the journalist, it's a whole change. We are working now on them, on the content, how they work, how they have to change, how they have to take a video, a photo, a voice, how they have to use AI tools. We were talking before, you and me, about AI. So all this is not easy to make all this transformation, and it's a business. People sometimes they think, especially in the Arab world, that they don't have to pay to read news. You have subscription. Do you have international subscriptions or no?
Of course.
Okay. People in the Arab world, they say no. They think that news is for free. They are not choose to subscribe. They are ready to subscribe to international news, but they don't subscribe for the Arab one because we don't have a lot of platform with subscription. So also it's a challenge.
How important is ethics to you in reporting?
It's very important because it's a totally business. It's a business, but at the same time, it's a mission.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Sometimes they can contradict each other. If you want to make money from a business, but if you want to deliver accurate, ethically, relevant content,
it's a really complex business.
It's not easy.
Not easy.
So you're juggling
with
two
the
hats.
mission,
Yeah.
Business mission. How can you have a mission, but at the same time, it's a business because I have the responsibility of 130 to 145 journalists. 145 families is not something easy to have a team, a group of 145.
You call them co-workers, right? Yeah. You mentioned 90%, give or take. What's the target for you?
Perfection is always a target, but at the same time, no one is perfect. You always have mistakes. You always have bad days, good days, whatever. Perfection is.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've sort of printed or shared in the past that you wish you could change? One thing that stays in your mind, we got that wrong.
Nothing specific that I say I can, no.
Okay.
But of course, you have a lot of things that you everyday fix, huh?
Do you like my golf balls?
Yes.
Have you ever had questions from a golf ball before?
No. First time.
There we go.
Showbiz and politics, a marriage made in heaven.
Showbiz and politics. Is it a marriage made in heaven? Obviously, you've obviously married a big TV personality with Malik. Talk to me a little bit about your relationship and not only that, talk to me about how you feel show business and politics could work well together.
Nowadays, it's not just being, when you work in media, it's not just about politics. So you work on all levels. Showbiz, because it attracts people more. Lifestyle, it attracts people. Gossips attracts people.
Do you feel you complement each other as a couple? No safe word. You want to compliment safe word?
Safe word.
That's your safe word. Obviously, you've been in the limelight a long time, being on camera, being on stage. Is this something that you enjoy? Do you enjoy doing things like what we're doing right now? Or is it something that you feel you have to do and play a role?
I don't play a role. If I want, I want. If I don't want, I will say
Okay.
I don't want it. I'm not someone who like to be just under the spot and the light all the time. I prefer to work and to give more, but at the same time, why not if I feel comfortable to do it?
Who's your best friend?
My best friend, I have 2-3 of my friends that
First
are really
person
best.
came to your mind. Who's your best friend?
I have a friend. Her name is Rania. She's
Okay.
my
Let's
best.
say I'm having a conversation with Rania. She's here. You're not here. You're somewhere else. And I say to her, Rania, tell me the best thing about Nayla. What's she going to tell me about you?
You have to ask her.
La, but you have to pretend. You have to imagine that. What would she say?
I don't like to pretend. I
Okay.
never like to pretend.
You know what? Next time,
have to
give me
ask
her number. We're going to get her on the show next time. But you
You
obviously
have best friends or no?
I have. I'm fortunate enough. I married my best friend. The reason why I asked you is because a lot of the time we don't open up fully to everybody. You know, you show a certain face or a certain image to a few people. To the people that you really love and that you respect, you show maybe a different side of face. You let them into your world. So when I asked you the question, your whole face changed because you were starting to imagine your relationship with Rania and what she would say. And I think, you know, what people love the most is seeing that authenticity. It's the seeing not that CEO, not that corporate look and everything's perfect, but to see the raw human that sits behind.
I am criticized even at work that I'm so authentic and I am who I am and how I am. And this is sometimes bad, you know, because whenever you are yourself a lot, people take you for granted.
They use it against you.
But I am who I am. I never played the role of a CEO or a chairman or someone who's important or whatever. I am Nayla as I am at work, with my friends. So, and I feel sometimes it's not good.
Yeah. Have you been used a lot?
I will not say used, but sometimes you have deception, even at work or in life, and you learn from them. And you get, with time, you get not used, you get more... how we say it, like you protect yourself
you build up a thicker skin.
Yes.
I asked you off camera, are you good at reading people? Remember that?
Yeah.
Are you good? Are you good at reading people?
I am.
Okay. At the end, I'm going to ask you what you think about the show and me, but we'll get
No,
there.
I feel people.
Yeah.
If I can feel someone, the connection will not pass. You will see someone different.
Yeah.
And no, I can say if I'm not comfortable, you will not see me talking like that.
Amazing.
So
I love that. I've got a thumbs up from Nayla. I love it.
The last conversation you remember having with your dad. I told you.
The last conversation you had with him.
It was please don't come back to Lebanon. It was really always despite. Don't come back. Don't come back. Don't come back to Lebanon.
You were on the phone with him? You were on the phone?
No. I saw him. Okay. He left Sunday morning from Paris, and Monday he was. So I talked to him at night, Sunday, and that was it.
So the last thing you told him was, "Don't come back to Lebanon."
So this is. But I remember a lot of things, from him. So he's always with me.
What's the biggest thing you learned from your dad?
Emotionally, not the biggest thing. Emotionally, what helped me a lot, it was a conversation a few months before he died about how he can live because he lost his brother by a car accident. His brother was maybe 23, 24, Makram, and the sister Nayla, she was 9 years old, and the mother, my grandmother Nadia, she was 48. So and I was always asking him, how can you deal with this and losing all your family? You just have your father. And he told me they never left. They are always with me, by my side. I can talk to him. The only thing is just I miss them. I cannot touch them. I cannot hug them. I talk to them in a different way. And this stayed in my mind all the time till now. I live with it every second that, yes, they are here.
But that's so much tragedy, Nayla, that you've had in your family.
We have a tragedy. And having your grandfather losing all those people, the close people of his life, and how he lives with them. It was a very special, weird life. Even being small kids, they buried my aunt, Nayla, in the garden. This is the wish. It was the wish of my grandfather and my grandmother. And after that, she asked to be buried in the garden also. And she wrote that she wants to be buried in the garden. So she will, because I was 10 months when she died, she wrote that I want to hear Nayla about me playing and laughing, and I will hear her. So we live in it's a tragedy. It's really tough. It's a tough story, sad story about my grandfather that we took, and
it's been
lived,
passed on to you.
yeah,
right?
it lived with us, and he was always, I feel that I know my grandmother more than anyone who met her because of my grandfather, and how he was always telling me stories about her, and how she lives all in every corner in the house. You have her photos, you have the photos of Nayla, the small Nayla, my aunt, and Makram. So you live with them and you learn how to live with them. It's really tough. You have people, sometimes they are afraid and they say, how can you and why? And this is not normal. But when you're used to it, you're okay, you're at peace. You just, if you believe in God, you pray by yourself, you talk to them, you feel that you have angels around you. So it gives you a different strength and a different peace. You need to be in peace with it and to just...
I love it. And then obviously you've got 3 kids. So how are you now taking all of the lessons from your grandfather and from your father and your aunt and whatever? How have you passed that on to your kids? What kind of mum are you?
No, I'm not so strict. And maybe I'm mistaken.
You look strict.
At all.
No,
and maybe I'm mistaken. I should have been more strict. But at the same time, and even, this, I was telling you before that everything has a solution in front of death and sickness and someone and health. So it's always, nothing is a catastrophe. They broke something, they did something. Okay, there is a solution. And maybe it's bad because at the end you put in their mind, everything is possible and they can do whatever, which is wrong. You realize that you don't have to do this.
You're a nice mom.
Yeah, I think.
You're a fun mom.
Even if they say I'm not. I am fun, but my job is tough, You are always on the phone, even if you're not at the office. We don't have time, especially during wars, during events. You're always seeing the urgent group, seeing the coverage, trying to think, having more other ideas. So they don't understand. They think that I'm a mom who stays on her phone all day long, which is, no, my work is on the phone.
And if they come to you and say, Mommy, I really want to be in journalism, you're gonna say yes or no to them?
No.
You're going to say no?
Yeah.
So, khalas, it stops at you, the 4th generation?
No, it will not stop. It didn't stop when my dad died or my grandfather. It's an institution who has to continue. I'm not the one who, like Lebanon, no, it's by family or whatever. But for me, if they need to have a great future and a good future and they need to do a good income, it's not in the media.
So all the future journalists out there, you've heard it here.
They know.
There's no money in it.
I think they know.
Yeah. Should we do another question? Yeah. Oh, she's already ready. Look at this. She's on a roll.
Choose one world leader, past, present, to run Lebanon.
Choose one world leader, past or present, to come right now and fix Lebanon. Who are you going to choose?
Not a Lebanese.
Doesn't have to be.
We're in Dubai. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. And if in his book he wrote that one day he will do Dubai, Beirut. Look, where is Beirut today and where is Dubai? And opening the arms to everyone to be in Dubai and to dream and to do jobs and work and the safety here. Even when you go to Europe, you have to remind yourself we're not in the UAE. We need to take care of our phone, of our bag, of whatever. The safety, the future, the dreams, the stability you have here in UAE, you don't have it anywhere else. If Lebanese are listening, they will say, she's doing, saying words, but it's facts. In 30 years, what they did, it's amazing.
So you know what's crazy? About 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks ago, I had someone sitting in that chair. He's much bigger than you. He's I think he's 198. And he used to play professional basketball. Mm-hmm. And Fadi Al-Khatib said exactly the same thing as you. Yeah. It wasn't the same question, but he got onto the message saying that he one of his dreams was hoping the Emirates would go to Lebanon, they'd take over, they'd fix it, and after 15 years or so of reestablishing things, they'd give it back. That was his dream. And it's so funny you're saying the same thing. Like Sheikh Mohammed he's a visionary, he's a fantastic leader, and he's brought obviously a whole region, not just a country, together, and he inspires a lot. Isn't it funny though that your first instinct is to pick someone outside to help come in? And
you have no one in the country.
Yeah, but it could be past or present. It could have been past or present, right? And I think I'm not disagreeing with you. And I think sometimes, a lot of people have told me the problem with Lebanon is that it's being run by Lebanese. You've heard this before, I'm sure, many times. And that the only way to fix Lebanon from someone from outside. Isn't that sad to hear?
It's sad.
It's maybe true,
amazing
but isn't that sad?
Cultural artists, doctors, education sector, as I told you, all the other sectors, we have amazing people. In politics, we don't have, and I don't care if they will be happy or know what I'm saying, but we don't have. And nowadays, if you'll ask me if you would like to interview someone in Lebanon, who is this person, the dream interview, I have no one. We don't have any more, unfortunately, leaders or people with really...
Mukh.
Yeah.
Mukh, is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're impressed with my Arabic?
He knows Arabic.
The wife has been teaching me a few words. What's the next one?
The women make better journalists.
Oh, okay. So I've done a bit of research. It says in your company, most of the people who work there are female. Correct? Is that right? I have my own theory on this, but do you think women make better journalists than men?
No, equal. But they are more picky, more organized, more trying to go deep. So maybe
yes.
Yes and no.
Basically, everything that's required.
I'm not just a pro-woman. I'm with...
Look, I personally think women make better journalists, personally speaking, right? They more...
on the frontiers now, on the front line, covering the war on TV, you see a lot of women more than men.
Yeah, so irrespective, I think for me it's about the truth. It's about uncovering the truth and to get the truth, like you mentioned, you have to dig a little bit deeper. You have to have more patience. You can't just have a quick emotional knee-jerk reaction on something. So I tend to find, again, maybe I'm biased, that women do make better journalists because they are more determined to really find out what happened. Men would probably, I know I'm generalizing, but we probably wouldn't go as deep as we should do. Is it an intentional thing from your side to have more women in your company?
No.
It just happened by chance? Okay. And how do you think women in Lebanon can be further empowered? What needs to happen?
They are being, but they need to be more and more. They have to work on themselves. They are pushing themselves. They are taking more responsibilities. And in which level you're talking about?
Like, if you look at
companies, they are.
Most
in the companies, they are.
Do you think so? A lot of the C-level executives.
Maybe they left.
Maybe they left. Yeah, but they tend to be
in the political scene. It's different. You cannot have them. You have those leaders. They are in control.
I'm looking mainly from the private sector. Most businesses, typically speaking, when it comes to CEOs, C-suite, 85-90% of them in the Middle East are male. And it's a big challenge that multiple industries face.
But we're having more and more Arab women having positions, or no?
Do you feel yourself, because you're such a prominent figure in Lebanon and as a woman, do you feel that you have additional pressure on you to also not only carry on the family legacy, but also fly that flag for women empowerment?
Yeah, I always believe that we have to have the women empowerment. I believe that women are becoming stronger and more. They are having their roles.
Let's do another
it
ball.
will take time.
Yeah, inshallah. Let's do it. Let's do another ball. How many have we had? How many have you done so far? You're on a roll, Nayla, huh?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Look at that.
What's your legacy versus your family's legacies?
So what do you want your legacy to be, right? As Nayla, right, versus your family's?
Just to be myself, to do my mission and to accomplish my not dreams, but just to accomplish what I want my way. And
you mentioned mission a few times.
Not to give up.
You mentioned mission a few times.
Everything is a mission in life, taking care of your job, your kids, your family, your life, your friends, giving from your heart, never give up. Even if sometimes you can cry, you can be tired, you say, I don't want to do anything anymore, I'm giving up. But after, when you think and you have I will continue, I will not I will fight, but I will continue. I'm believing in what I'm doing. I want An-Nahar to be not just Lebanese, it's an Arab platform to be more successful, to have more products, to develop more products, to be the voice of a lot of people in the Arab world, and to accomplish what I want. Of course, besides seeing my kids succeeding and my life and my friends. And
so in 30, 40 years' time, someone's having an interview with your kids and they're talking about you. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for them? What do you want them to tell them?
I don't know.
Tell the world about you?
I don't know. Nothing. Just be myself. So they will say it. I don't want anyone to say anything.
Are you hard on yourself?
No.
Do you challenge yourself a lot?
I like challenges. I don't challenge myself. I love challenges. I love adventure. I love, even if you come and have a project, last minute project, and it's a nice project, I just say, Yalla, let's do it.
Yeah. You're a fascinating,
you like challenges?
Fascinating character. I love challenges. I'm doing a challenge at the moment. I mean, I haven't had that many challenges in my life. I've had everything pretty much laid out for me. Good schooling, good education, done well in my career.
But now this is your passion, and we can feel it.
Yeah, but I'm doing something that is a challenge, because I haven't turned my back, but I'm moving away from the traditional way of making an income and raising your kids in a financially stable environment, to doing something a bit like this. And
you're being yourself, because you're not prepared. You don't have. You are well prepared without having questions, panicking,
no notes,
whatever.
Nothing on my palms. Some people have said to me, Luca,
comfortable.
Some people have said to me, Luca, you have a teleprompter. You're using a teleprompter. And all. Can you confirm that there's no?
We have the wife here. I don't know if she's doing something, I cannot see her. She's in front of you.
I haven't looked at it. Every time I look at her, she puts me off. But look, I because I enjoy it so much. For me, this is easy. It's not when I wake up in the morning and I knew I was going to meet you and have this conversation, and I hope you feel it's a conversation. It's just two people over a cup of coffee, which is now probably a bit cold, and getting to know each other, but also uncovering some insights about you and about what you've been through. Because whatever you say, there might be parts of it that will connect with audiences or connect with me. And I think I love connecting with people, and I love meeting new people. And because I've come from a different type of environment and background culturally, I like to try and reconnect back with parts of that. So this is why I'm doing.
And it's something very important to meet people and to learn from each other and to talk.
And whether we like it or not, actually, I like it. There's so much research coming out now that podcasters, hosts, are more and more trusted in terms of the information that's being shared, and you develop a long-lasting relationship with them. And I think, whether it's one person or 100 people or 1,000 people, if you can connect with them and they feel they can trust you and the show and the format and the guests, and you feel you're making that connection, then it's all worth it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Very happy with that. Thank you for asking me a question. Look at you. Oh, I love that.
Speak with freedom or free the unspoken.
Okay, so I like play on words. So is it more important to you to have freedom of speech, or to free the unspoken, the people who don't have the voice?
Both.
And to give them, not on this show. You have to choose.
No.
Nayla, my show. You have to choose. So the question is really
free the unspoken, the people who cannot talk.
The people who can't talk, the people who haven't been given a voice. Yeah. So we talk long and hard about freedom of speech.
Because anyway, I talk with freedom. I don't hide.
Yeah. But a lot of
so I think our role is to free the unspoken and people who cannot talk and be their voices. Don't you think so?
I agree with you, because I think freedom of speech hasn't really gotten us very far. Honestly speaking, the Western world talk a lot about freedom of speech, and they tend to tie themselves up in knots.
Don't you think we're having a lot of freedom of speech, especially with social media
now? There is a lot of freedom of speech, but I think
bullying even, but attacking and bad way sometimes, 100%, with no limits. Sometimes.
And I want to hear from people who don't have a voice, and what they actually imagine. You have a conversation now with someone who's survived what's been going on in Gaza, okay, for the last at time of recording, more than a year. Imagine having that conversation, because they haven't been given a voice to tell me what they've been through for the last 12 months. I would love that. Sure. Rather than listening to a journalist who's sitting in a nice studio with air conditioning sometimes, and making claims on 1, 2, 3 they don't know about. They have a voice, they have freedom of speech, but actually as an audience, you're not really learning that much anymore. So for me, it definitely is about freeing the unspoken.
I love the stories of people, and the touching stories, and the people that... you really need to. They are heroes sometimes.
They are heroes. There are heroes. Look, I think everyone has the potential to inspire, because everyone has their own story. The only question,
and we learn from each person.
Yeah, and the only question is, do they have a platform or a voice to have that? because everyone does. So imagine if everyone could have an opportunity to share what they've been through. How much richer would the world be in terms of knowledge and information?
Sure.
So much richer. Time for another ball. So I'm glad you went on. I'm glad
Right
you went
or
on
left?
that side.
This is the last.
You got 2 left. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got.
Fake news or uncovered news? What's more of a crime?
Okay. So fake news,
Uncovered news
or
is
uncovered news. What's more of a crime?
Uncovered.
That's more of a crime.
If you're not talking about something and not saying it or hiding it.
But
For
fake
a
news,
special agenda.
fake news is misleading a lot of people.
Misleading.
So
You
what's
need
more
to
of a
fact
crime?
check. It's our job.
By the way, I'm not saying to you one or more than the other, but I want to get your turn.
Fact checking, we're doing it every day, and it's part
You
now
are
of
doing
our.
it maybe, but
Yes.
but the world, unfortunately, there's a lot of media outlets who are not doing
But not
that.
cover something very important or dangerous and not to say it because you have a specific agenda. It's a crime, or no?
But reporting something that's happened in a different way than actually what happened is also a crime. They're both crimes.
Both.
It's the question is which one is more of a crime in your eyes?
I don't know, because fact checking is one of the most important for us, and at the same time, the uncovered news is also.
Yeah. Do you know how little the amount of tabloids have been talking about what's been happening in Sudan over the last year or so? We've been talking a lot about Gaza, talking a lot about what's happening in Israel, a lot what's going on in Lebanon, but no one's really talking about what's happening in Sudan. That's news that's not really being covered, but the crimes happening there are as atrocious, if not worse.
We're talking.
But in terms of the headlines, in terms of the paragraphs that
because
are
maybe
taken up.
Because why do you think?
And I'm not talking just in the Middle East. I'm talking
thinking why?
Globally. Because there's probably I have my own theory about it. It's because there's probably no interest there. You know,
no influencers.
Africa, unfortunately.
No figures.
Look, I lived 20 years in Africa, and I've seen things that personally happened to me and people that I know, and it's a desperate place. And there's been a lot of people recently have come out in the news and said no one really cares about Africa. You know, it's not an important continent, and I can't stand that because I feel I was raised in Nigeria. I lived there along my dad was born in Nigeria and he worked there for over 40 years. And I still have family there. So I feel very deeply passionate about that continent, but yet people don't seem to care because there's no money in it, or there's no
influence
in it, or there's no tactical advantage to be gained from positioning 1, 2, or 3. So it's sad. So it's not just what's happening in the Middle East. There's a lot of news that's not being
around
covered.
the world.
Yeah.
And even a lot of topics.
Yeah. So again, going back to
the crisis of water later on, a lot of crisis, even about stories about animals, about climate change, a lot of things.
So when we talked about the previous question about the unspoken, the voice, this is very similar. There's a lot of things that aren't being covered. And again, as a journalist,
and that will touch us.
Yeah, you've got to be accurate, but you've got to represent larger areas. And I think the global journalism is not doing justice to what's been happening in the world. So if you were asking me that question, I would also go with uncovered news. We're on the same page, me.
Yes.
Look at that, huh? We're
no
in
fights.
sync. Ano Yeki, we're in sync.
No fights.
Yeah. What's the last question?
What makes a good journalist? We talk a lot about it. Being yourself, being transparent, being responsible, talking about the truth, writing about the uncovered stories, having a mission, giving yourself. You don't have time for you, even if you need to have time for you, but at the same time it's not just going from 8 to 5 to work and that's it. No, it's a totally different life, and being authentic for me as a good journalist. When you work even on the KPIs and the return on investment in a company, and journalism is totally different, but you have the KPIs and the return on investment in a different way. The return of investment is if you succeed in being the voice of someone and you can change his or her life or about a topic or something, and you can raise your voice. This is a big return on investment. And your KPIs, your goals, what do you want to achieve through the journalism? So this is how...
I love that. Who's the best journalist in the world?
I will not say my father and my grandfather, but I'm really influenced by them. But we have a lot. You have a lot of successful journalism around the world, and you have a lot of successful stories and journalists for many, many, many years working and giving their lives. Journalists on the ground covering wars in the whole world. They are really heroes.
They are heroes, especially what's been happening in the last 12 months or so.
No, not just like 1 month. I have a lot of friends. They covered a lot of wars before and how they put their lives, and they talk about how their lives were endangered. It's really...
Yeah. I think the world of journalism has changed a lot. I think to be a good journalist now, you've also got to think machine. You've got to be able to understand what the algorithms are going to be picking up. You got to understand, if you want to get your message across, what's the most effective way to do that. So yes, you have to be truthful. Yes, you have to, dig deeper, be ethical, have responsibility, have a certain mission. But you also need to be able to navigate the distribution of that message through the right channels and almost play the system in order for that message to be heard. And the fundamentals of being a good journalist haven't changed, but to be a successful journalist, you need to know how to master the media, master the algorithms, and learn how to market that to the machines, not just to people.
Sure.
And that's a whole new world. That's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even more with the podcast today, you have people that are not journalists, but also they have a responsibility to be not a journalist, but to lead and to work on their podcast in a responsible way.
Do you think I could be a journalist?
You are.
Ah, all right. By the way, my rates are very good. In case you want me to bring me on board, I'll give you a good discount.
Really?
My wife will
I will negotiate with
my
your
wife will negotiate, as you know, she's the boss. Look, Nayla, it's been great having you on, really. And Jed,
it was a pleasure.
I'm very happy to welcome you to my house. You're someone that has been through a hell of a lot, and you're still, I have to say young because we're the same age. You've been through a hell of a lot, and you keep smiling, whatever keeps coming your way, and you've got that resilience. And you've got that character to keep going. And that's fantastic. Your mission, like you mentioned. I wish you all the very, very best.
Thank you.
In the future. We've got a little game for you. So on social media after this, we're going to go through it. And you're going to have to pick out what's real and what's fake. We'll see how good you are as a journalist. But thank you for being part of this.
Thank you.
And thanks, guys, for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. See you soon on The Inside Track.